Ben Carson's right. He's 100% right. And research bears this out. In 2013, the Brookings Institute, a bipartisan, nonprofit public organization, conducted a study which showed that by doing three things, a person had a 98% chance to avoid poverty completely. The study concluded that people who complete high school, hold a full-time job, and waited until marriage to have children had only a 2% chance of ending up in poverty. It goes on that those people who graduate high school, don't have kids out of wedlock, and hold down a full-time job have a 75% chance of joining the middle class. Notice that all three of these cultural issues, all three of these derive almost solely from lessons, attitudes, and ethics learned at home.
No, I absolutely disagree with this statement. Poverty is simply being poor. Knowing that we only had 1 minute to answer these questions, I prepared a packet for you, and there are extra copies in the back of the room that talk about answers to all of these particular questions. But those in poverty also include our elderly, our disabled, and children. And 15 million children do not have an attitude about poverty. As I look at the neighborhood associations that we have worked with for the last 30 years, we've worked on feeding, clothing, and finding shelter for those in poverty in our community. It is absolutely one of the most horrific things that can happen to a community, and it is one of the top priorities of your Vancouver City Council.
It's not a state of mind. I mean, any more than it'd be a state of mind for me to be rich. If I could imagine myself being rich. A lot of poverty is driven by people who may not have had a role model. A lot of us here, most of us here, had role models growing up that we learned from. We knew how to dress, how to talk to others, how to conduct ourselves in school and in interviews. A lot of people, though, haven't been blessed with that. They grew up, you know, in poverty. And poverty creates a stress that feeds on itself and keeps going. There's a lot of other reasons. Addiction. People do give up. They lose hope when we're not there as a community to back them up as neighbors. I think we could do better.
I feel what Ben Carson said about poverty can be true. Working at the PUD and with low-income assistance and resources, I see what he's saying. When poverty is generational, when your grandparents, mom and dad, and everybody you live around is in poverty, poverty is all you know. When every day you struggle to even put food on the table and every day you fight to survive, yes, poverty becomes a state of mind. It's a vicious cycle that's hard to dig yourself out of. However, his comment was taken completely out of context. I guarantee you there's nobody out there when they're asked in the 5th grade what you want to be when you grow up, they answer with, I want to live in poverty and be homeless. Poverty also comes with hard knocks, with the cost of living, rent, insurance, food, childcare costs, when one devastating event away from living in poverty. Perfect example in my life 20 years ago. I got in a car accident. 30 seconds later, I was living off of $550 a month SSI and food stamps. I was living in poverty myself. If you're a family of 4 with a 2-income household and one person loses their income, you guys are now living in poverty. We are all one accident, loss of a job, death, traumatic car accident away from living in poverty.
I certainly don't agree with that statement. Homelessness is a multifaceted challenge which includes social, economic, and political elements. There's a variety of reasons: stagnant wages, single-parent households, lack of educational opportunities, increased cost of living. There's many factors. When 2 or more of those factors collide, families become overwhelmed. One thing happens after another, and until the path to recovery is overwhelming. Access to support and services must be easily accessible for these people. I believe programs such as Bridgeview will simplify the process and get the necessary help to the right place sooner. Our organization has given our largest donation ever to Bridgeview. I sit on the steering committee. It's almost a one-stop shop where people who are overwhelmed can come in and find some help. They don't often know where. The transportation around the community on a bus is challenging, and I think it will be very beneficial to have one place for people to go seek help and support and get themselves on the right path to where they want to be, productive citizens. Thank you.
I absolutely do not agree with Ben Carson. Poverty is attained through skyrocketing rents and medical costs to unemployment, low wages, and our local drug epidemic. It's not what people they're not in that state of mind. They want to get out, just the opportunities to get out are not there. And that's where we need to step in and step up. And we need to be a community that includes everyone and brings everybody up together.
Well, I think that it can be true and it can be false. There's a lot of people that don't aspire to be what they can in life, and it's unfortunate. Because anybody can be an entrepreneur, anybody can own a business, and anybody can be successful in life. So yes, definitely there is a state of mind issue involved there, but also there is the dynamic of drugs. There's the dynamic of inflation. The more money that we print, the less buying power that our dollar has. The more money it costs to buy things, the prices go up for rent. They go up for everything, and so a lot of it has to do with state of mind, but also a lot has to do with the government and restricting and raising prices and inflating our money and the lost buying power of our dollar.
So like many of the candidates up here, I do not agree with Ben Carson's statement. Being a daughter of a mother who was pregnant at 14 and had me at the age of 15 and worked 80 hours a week just to pay the bills, that is not a state of mind. It's about income inequality, minimum wage. It's about how much you're spending in your income for housing. Poverty isn't about what you think, it's about your environment and how you're going to survive. So with me, I think there are many things that we can do as public officials to help lift people out of poverty and provide tools and access to services, and that's what I hope to do as your city council member. I hope to give the children, especially the 39,000 students in the state of Washington, 2,000 of which are in Evergreen and Vancouver public schools, opportunities so that they can move out of poverty and not have to think about it, but definitely is not a state of mind.
Well, there's one thing that I certainly learned about studies is if you listen to any study and then you look at another one, it will tell you the exact opposite. So they're not necessarily gospel. Is he completely wrong? No, I don't think Ben Carson's completely wrong. I mean, we've all learned, having a good attitude will definitely help you move forward, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make you successful. They're fine words, but you have to take into account people's environment, their safety net, or lack thereof. I mean, people don't just find homelessness and poverty, it finds them. As in, most of us are, a couple paychecks away from being evicted or being missing a house payment. And that's something that a lot of people have to deal with. Ben Carson was very lucky. He was able to do good and have a nice career. But a lot of people work hard and play by the rules, and sometimes it doesn't work out for them. So we need to work on jobs and providing medical coverage for everyone so that everyone can succeed. Thank you.
I agree with a lot of what Michelle said about how it's basically, let's personalize this for a minute. I don't know about you guys, but if I was poor, I would definitely develop the same amount of, am I ever going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this situation? So definitely hard work can help out, but at the same time, though, we do need to create living wage jobs in this community. The solution to this problem is going to be more living wage jobs. That comes from small business growth. So in order to solve the problems of poverty, homelessness, rising rents, rising housing issues, we need to create more living wage jobs, which means we need to support small businesses.
I too disagree with Ben Carson's statement, and I believe that statements like that are incredibly harmful to those who are living with poverty, that it's a form of blaming them for not working hard enough, not trying hard enough. But poverty is cyclical, and if you are born into poverty, you are already at a huge disadvantage. You have the deck stacked against you from birth, and that follows you into the schools you go to whether or not you have the ability to go into a university and pay for the applications to try to get to that university, to the jobs that you can obtain. It's a lot of people get stuck, and with best intentions, that is still the reality.
It's not a simple fix. You know, there's many forms of poverty. You have absolute poverty, which is no food, no water, no shelter, no access. Relative poverty, family can't buy vaccinations, they can't buy gifts for each other. Situational poverty, which could be a natural disaster, your home burns down, your home gets flooded out. Chronic poverty, when poverty is handed over from one generation to another. I don't know what Ben Carson was thinking when he made that statement, so I can't speculate. But I do feel the problem is poverty is far too complex to say X is the single reason why people live in poverty. Key contributors, as we all know, are drugs and alcohol addiction, mental illness, and general economic instability. Now, does poverty affect your state of mind? Absolutely. How could it not? Think about those days when you wake up and you're on the wrong side of the bed. Now think of those days when you don't have a bed. So getting a hand up is critical to these people in these environments.